Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon to you all here. It is June 11th, 2025 here. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And if you guys can't see on the bottom left of your screen here, the Pacific Ocean is going crazy. We are already having our third storm. We've already had our first and second storm and our third storm of the season. We've already had two hurricanes as of the last couple of days down the Pacific Ocean. And we've got two more areas with an invest already developing down here that are going to be also moving in this direction. It's not unusual. We see this time of the year, we get hurricane season going really quickly down there. It's very typical. The waters are just a lot warmer. But the thing is about these storms is the water temperatures well out here into the western side of Baja California are a lot colder, and there's a lot more shear. So once these storms develop and get into that environment, they pretty much lose steam and fall apart before they even get up towards Baja California this time of the year. So we got to wait for those water temperatures to get a little bit warmer before we have to start being concerned more about the west coast there. And really, and in general, we don't get a lot of these storms in the west coast in general. Y'all know how the odds of getting a hurricane in California are. It's very, very slim. So we're not worried about any of that happening at all. Just some fish storms out there over the next couple of days. Nothing to talk about in the Gulf or in the Atlantic either. We're still going to keep things very, very quiet, more than likely until the rest of the June is over with here. We really will start to watch more in terms of July and August and September when we start to really get things going up. Still could see something happen. Things can change in the weather world. Y'all know that. But as of right now, we're not expecting any type of tropical development in the next 7 to 10 days here across the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf, or the Caribbean here. What's going to be the biggest conversation is going to be a heat dome, guys. Yes, we're going to be finally building the warm temperatures back here. We are going to continue to see humidity. Showers and thunderstorms are going to continue to be a thing over the next couple of weeks here. Just really going to be in this gross, muggy pattern in terms of the humidity levels that are going to come in with the heat that we're going to be seeing here. Another thing that we're going to be watching for, a big uptick still in our severe weather potential going into today, going through the next couple of days, and going into next week, really the next 2 to 3 weeks here. We could be seeing a big uptick in severe weather up in the high plains in the Midwest. I've been talking about that the last couple days in our risk zones. Yes, these are only level 1 marginal risks right now, but they do show that shift that we're going to be seeing. We're still going to see some pretty significant severe weather back down here, not severe weather, but significant heavy rainfall ongoing down here into Texas over the next couple days as these systems move their way through, these development regions come their way through here. These disturbances we're going to be seeing will give us a threat for some heavy rainfall here. We've already seen lots and lots of rainfall. I want to zoom in here just for a minute. We've got some ongoing showers and storms moving into portions of southern Oklahoma, northern Texas, back down here into southern Texas. We get a line of storms that's organizing currently right now outside of the Houston area here, moving through Houston, I should say. That's not the main event today. We are going to have another round of showers and storms that's going to develop overnight tonight, late this evening and overnight, that could pose a damaging wind threat, an isolated tornado threat from San Antonio back into Houston. We'll talk about more of that here in just a minute. Showers and thunderstorms along the east coast here. I have a couple of little spotty storms up near Virginia there with a couple severe thunderstorm warnings on them. But other than that, today should be a very quiet day in terms of severe weather here across the United States, unless you live down in Texas later on this evening here. So we're going to break down that forecast for you guys, talk about that, kind of get you guys out the door here for today. We'll start out with the Storm Prediction Center and what we've got going on here for the next 3 days. And like I said, marginal to scattered severe weather is going to be the main story over the next week or so here as we get little dips in our jet stream, as we get little troughing, little low pressure systems that develop. They'll typically bring some severe weather with the moist humidity levels as well as the high dew points and instability. They'll be out with the heat dome that'll be set up to the east and south later on next week. Like I said, level 1 marginal risk zones back here into Iowa and into the west coast and up here into the high plains. These will be wind and hail driven, not looking at really any tornado potential with these here, less than 2%, but not 0. And then our main region for severe weather today is going to be for Texas, western Louisiana, southern portions of southwestern Arkansas here. And a level 2 slight risk here from San Antonio back into Houston, Texas for a damaging wind threat and an isolated tornado threat. There is a 2% tornado risk from San Antonio through Houston later on tonight. We could see a couple spin up tornadoes, but although the main threat is going to be heavy rainfall, I don't see too much of a tornado risk being an issue down there today. Wind threat at 15 and 5% across the board for all regions here, with 60 to 70 mile an hour winds possible and 1 to 2 inch diameter hail. Like I said, very, very low end days today. Do not expect much with the severe weather setup. And then we get to tomorrow, and we've got 2 more marginal risk zones area. Once again, back here in Texas, San Antonio, Austin, Waco, Fort Stockton, level 1 risk out of 5 here for marginal risk. Wind, hail, and an isolated tornado threat will be possible. And then another marginal risk back up here into the Rockies and into the high plains and into the Midwest, where we will have all modes of severe weather possible as well, very low end. I wouldn't be shocked to see a level 2 slight risk be introduced somewhere in here. We'll see what SPC does in the future with these outlooks, but wouldn't be shocked to see that on the table there. And there is no 2% highlighted tornado risk, but it's less than 2%, but not 0. So do be mindful of that. Very, very brief tornado spin-ups possible tomorrow if things can get going. Wind threat will be at 5% and hail threat will be at 5%. Like I said, very, very low end days. Not expecting much on those. And then we do get to the day 3 forecast here. And this is where things, as I mentioned, start to change a little bit. We start to see that severe weather really shift far, far, far to the north here. And we really haven't covered a lot of these areas. Yes, we've had some severe weather in the high plains and the central plains this year. But as far as Montana, getting up here into far northern Wyoming with these slight risk and marginal risk, not quite yet. So we're starting to see that shift. Probabilities will be isolated tornado threat threat, wind threat, and hail threat. We'll get more into the specifics on this tomorrow, but this will be from Midland and Lubbock, Texas, all the way up through Oklahoma City and back up into the high plains and upper plains there in Midwest. So we'll talk more about that in the future video. We don't have anything on the day 4 through 8 outlook as of right now, but I wouldn't be shocked to see future risk zones highlighted, especially as we go through each day here. Just something to kind of note about as you get disturbances, as you get little dips in the jet stream, as you just get instability colliding with decent dew points, you're going to get storm initiation, and sometimes storms can be severe. So it's something we just look at entirely in terms of the summertime pattern. So let's talk about what we're going to see here in terms of our severe weather going into tonight here. I'll talk more about tomorrow and into the day 3 outlook in tomorrow's video. I want to stay focused on today here. Showers and storms ongoing this morning through mid-afternoon here, continuing to see heavy rainfall. We could see some pretty significant rainfall in these areas here with storms due train, so do be mindful of that. I would say anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rainfall in the local spots with a 1 to 3 inch rainfall across most areas here. Definitely possible with training storms here. And then we're going to see that push out, move into Arkansas, move into Louisiana later on this evening and tonight. And then we're going to see a new round of storms develop overnight tonight. So you need to have a way to get alerts on your phones if you're back down here into San Antonio, Houston, just south central Texas here. This is going to be well into the overnight hours that these storms do initiate damaging winds, a brief isolated tornado threat, and a hail threat. But the main threat's going to be the flooding threat that's going to accompany with these storms here. So just be mindful. We'll be waking up tomorrow to another squall line moving through East Texas and Louisiana. So Houston, you'll be getting into those storms early tomorrow morning again. And then scattered showers and thunderstorms across the southeast and the lower Ohio Valley tomorrow, as well as we could see that upper level low continue to move northeast there. We'll kind of talk about that here again in just a second. Now, I do want to mention the overall global pattern here once again here, upper level trough here to the west starting to develop with a more of a zonal jet stream up here from Canada back down into the northeast. This little disturbance right here is what's causing today's severe weather and tomorrow's severe weather. So that low pressure system will actually be moving its way to the northeast. Zonal flow off to the north here, and then a new jet stream moving in as we go into the end of this week here. Like I said, that'll be pushing in. We'll see that upper level low moving up to the Ohio valleys, chances for some storms on Friday and maybe even into Saturday. And then we start to really change our weather pattern here, especially as we go into the weekend. We're going to start to see sort of a kind of a heat dome build here. You can see high pressure system here, high pressure system off Bermuda, off the east coast here, going to help also spin in those dew points. Those dew points will be gross. It will feel humid. It'll feel hot. It'll feel sticky back down here in the southeast, the plains, especially as we start to develop that heat dome. I wouldn't say this is a big, like mega heat dome that we're going to see for weeks and weeks and weeks, because the models have signaled that this will start to break down again as we go into the 3rd week and 4th week of June here. We'll just kind of have to watch it, but I want you guys to see here, as things kind of stay quiet in this area here, and more in terms of the Ohio Valley as well, we see that dip in the jet stream, and what that's going to do is it's going to promote severe weather back up into here into the high plains, the Midwest. If you guys are in those areas here, you need to be very, very weather aware going into next week, that we could see a bunch of severe weather, day-to-day severe weather, and we will be live to cover those events if need be. But I definitely think damaging winds and hail and a couple tornadoes will be possible going into next week with that zonal jet stream that kind of sets up. We'll get some different disturbances, and really in general, as we go into the 3rd week of June here, we really could see lots of severe weather across the board once again. And the new trough coming in here, we could be seeing more severe weather in the plains. So severe weather might be quiet for just a couple days here, guys, but we are going to get back into it once again, I think, as we go into the 3rd and 4th week of June here. Just lots of zonal flow here, lots of bulk shear aloft here. If you're down into like the southern plains and the southeast, this will be pretty quiet. This is where we're going to have to watch for most entirely this area here for significant severe weather, maybe even going into the second week and 3rd week of June here, maybe even to the 4th week. That's a little far out to kind of tell here, but we'll keep you guys updated on that there, and just really, like I said, training of our jet stream as we continue to build a heat dome down here in the southern plains. Now, I do want to walk over those rainfall totals here that we're going to see through the next 7 to 10 days, because this is very, very important, and you can really see where that significant rainfall is going to be at least through Monday here, and we can see Arkansas, Texas, guys, we could easily see 3 to 5 inches of rain locally here, with some isolated 5 to 8 inch spots, and maybe even higher than that with storms at train. So that's the area we're really gonna have to watch, getting up into the Ohio Valley and the southeast later on the end of the weekend here, and then even getting into the upper high plains and Midwest next week. We could see 3 to 5 inches of rainfall locally with some isolated higher spots as well up into Minnesota and Wisconsin next week. So just a lot of flooding to watch out for. Be mindful of those creeks, rivers, and streams. We'll keep you guys updated on that. Like I said, there won't be any severe weather coverage probably until we get closer to next week. These isolated low end days we try to kind of wait out for and kind of see if anything changes, but most times not. It's just a wind and a hail maker for most people. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Other than that, guys, stay safe out there, be weather aware, and we'll see y'all in the next one.